Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Monday morning to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there and having a great start to your day, a great start to that week of yours. Here to give you an update on what's going to happen weather-wise for your Monday as this cold front continues to push across the country. It's really starting to enter what we would say is the eastern portion of the country now. We have a big-time temperature gradient across areas of the eastern U.S., and we'll talk a little bit on that. We still got rain riding this boundary, a little bit of snow for areas of northern Maine. I wouldn't say a little bit of snow. Maybe for you guys, the standards is just a little bit of snow. But for late October, it's pretty impressive. Several inches of snow is possible by the time this system is done for northern Maine. It's already snowing up there right now. Maybe even some of the far northern sections of New York State, Vermont, and New Hampshire might be seeing a little bit of snow too. But rain is another storyline today. Maybe not as quite as much as we've seen over the last couple of days, but certainly areas will at least see some shower activity, some light to moderate rain at times. Great Lake snow machine really kicks up today. We have a lot of lake effect snow that's going to come off Lake Superior, even eventually start to come off Lake Michigan also. And then we have a shortwave system that's going to ride down to the lower 48 and potentially put a coating of snow for areas of the north central U.S., the upper Midwest, even away from the Great Lakes. This could introduce the opportunity for a white Halloween for certain areas. There could even be some snow that falls all the way down into Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, dare I say northern Kentucky for tomorrow during the afternoon, maybe evening time frame. But we'll talk more on that in tomorrow morning's video. Let's focus in on today. I want to tell you guys I will not have a video for this evening or tomorrow evening. Just got a couple things coming up, and so I won't be able to kind of get very detailed with what's coming up over the next couple of days, except what I do in these morning videos. But I'll keep you covered in these morning videos. If you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like, and if you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below. I've not had a chance to answer the comments from last night's video, but I will get to them this afternoon. Let's talk about what's going on out there right now based off water vapor loop. And as you can tell, dry air surging down behind this cold front, dry, cold air, which isn't indicated very well based off water vapor loop, but everything on this side of all this white you see right here is some pretty cold air. And along this boundary, you got a flow that's moving from the southwest to the northeast, and in this flow, you got a lot of moisture. Maybe not as much as we've seen over the last couple days, but this boundary of moisture has shifted east. So we're dealing with some rain. We're even getting some beneficial rains in areas of like northwest Louisiana. Hopefully we can get this rain throughout the morning hours to scoot a little bit further into Louisiana, maybe even northern Mississippi. We should be able to, but outside of that, this is in the form of snow up here in the far northern sections of New England. But if you look at this little area right here that's screeching down south and southeast, that is our shortwave energy moving along the base of this trough, and this will continue to surge south, and there'll be enough moisture with it, and certainly enough cold air for this to fall snow, stripe of snow potentially for like this region right into here. We need to watch this area. I mean, this does include, Minneapolis area, pretty much all Wisconsin. It's going to be a tough one to figure out. Models do differ a little bit, but the HRRR model shows a stripe of snow all the way through Halloween tomorrow for areas of like even the Ohio River Valley. So we need to figure that one out. Outside of that, the West is much quieter than what we've seen over the last several days. That's what's going on based off water vapor loop. Let's see what's going on as far as what's falling on our heads out there. And there's that stripe of rain which stretches from just outside of Dallas-Fort Worth region through Little Rock once again, waking up to another rainy morning. Raining in areas of Shreveport, it looks like. Can we get some of this rain to enter further south in Louisiana? I think we can. I don't think it's going to be a washout. We need a lot of rain. I don't think we're going to get a lot of it. But you got a stripe of rain that's pretty small in comparison to the rest of the country. But a little stripe of rain moving through Memphis, through western Tennessee, through western Kentucky, northern Kentucky, all the way through areas of Ohio, all the way into the northeast. And it's cold enough up here where the cold air is sagged in from this boundary for this to be snow in northern Maine and even central Maine and the far northern sections of just New England in general. Got some lake effect snow already ongoing up here in the UP of Michigan and the western U.S. Pretty quiet. We'll show you the Storm Prediction Center outlook, and really it's not even really worth showing just because there's not going to be much in the way of thunderstorms today. But I want to show you guys up here in the UP of Michigan you guys have a risk of thunderstorms, and your immediate thought with thunderstorms is rain and lightning and thunder. Well, this could be snow and lightning and thunder. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get a raging thunderstorm of snow up here, but some of these lake effect streamers that come off Lake Superior could be pretty intense and could be convective enough in nature for you to get lightning and thunder. I would not be surprised one bit we get some reports of lightning and thunder up here with some of these snow squalls screeching across the northern sections of the UP of Michigan. So I think that's very interesting. That's why I wanted to bring it up regardless of the lack of thunderstorms today. It'd be pretty cool. Let me know what you guys see today up there in the UP. Nothing to really show on the excessive rainfall outlook because there's no risk really at all. But man, look at all these watches, warnings, and advisories. These are freeze warnings in the purple colors, which extend from western Texas all the way to western PA. You got winter weather advisories up for northern Maine, and then in the blue color, the light blue, that is freeze watches, which is extended all the way to Atlanta, all the way down to Birmingham, all the way, across the Cumberland Plateau into western Tennessee, a couple counties in North Carolina, and then just up the spine of the Appalachian Mountains. And I expect tomorrow for this to extend even further east into Virginia, North Carolina, the Carolinas in general, even deeper into Georgia potentially, where the cold air will continue to move. If you look up here, there's winter weather advisories up for one county of Wisconsin, a few counties, several counties up in the UP, and there's even a winter storm warning up for the peninsula here. I think it's Kanawha Peninsula. If you guys were helping me with punctuation in the video last night, I have not had a chance to read the comments, so I haven't read over them. I don't want you to think I'm ignoring you. Trust me, I'm reading them. But I think it's the Kanawha Peninsula. I think that's how you pronounce it. But you got a winter storm warning up now. So if you hear my kids cough in the background, something about the last week of October. It's been 2 years in a row now where my kids have been sick. Even I was sick. I don't know if you guys remember where I was really sick in late October last year. I didn't make a video for like 3 or 4 days. Something about the last week of October. I don't know, third or fourth week of October. Kids either got a big time cough or were just all flat out sick. So definitely I'm asking for prayers that the cough leaves. My baby girl, my oldest girl, it's definitely got a nasty cough this morning. So if you hear it, that's what that is. But anyways, I know most of you don't mind and definitely wish the best. But definitely want to always throw that out there. But I want to show you guys, look, these are temperatures right now. These aren't high temperatures. These temperatures right now, so you're below freezing for most of Missouri, except the Boot Hill. Illinois, a lot of folks below freezing are at it. Pretty decent temperature gradient across Mississippi, where areas in like northwest Mississippi is in the 40s, maybe even some upper 30s somewhere. But you get down here to Gulfport, it's in the 70s, southern Mississippi in the 70s. Even Louisiana, it's pretty impressive. Up here in Shreveport, you got a cold rain falling in the 40s. You go down here to the bayou, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, it's close to 70 degrees. But you folks in the southeast, even all the way up through West Virginia, southwest PA, you're hanging on to the 60s for lows for dear life. There is some 50s out there, but regardless if the 50s or 60s, it's still above average temperature-wise for the morning of the 30th of October. So it's definitely warm out there, but the cold air is coming, that's for sure. As far as weather today, not very active. These leftover showers, leftover moisture from this front is continuing to move east, and I think we could get some more showers in northern Louisiana throughout the morning and early afternoon. Could make it all the way to central Mississippi. Could get some beneficial rains in northwest Alabama. Some rain could get going, some light rain this afternoon, this evening in eastern Tennessee, eastern Kentucky, the southwest Virginia. These rain will try to make it all the way to the mountains of the southern Alps of Tennessee and North Carolina, but I think it really dries up. Unfortunately, I had a really good question in the comments a couple days ago. They said, why is it so dry? And he was specifically talking about western North Carolina. Why has it been so dry lately? Well, the only way I can answer that is typically with cold fronts, you get some kind of weather associated with them. And we've definitely had an average amount of cold fronts this fall in the southeast. We really have. It's been about average. It hasn't been too cold. It hasn't been too hot. It's really been about an average fall in my opinion. A lot of people complain about the changing. Why is it 80 something degrees one day and then in the 60s the next? Guys, that's typical fall type stuff. It really is, and it's funny hearing people talk about it. Every season, it's like, man, why is the temperatures changed so much? It's been so crazy this fall. It really hasn't. Now, this cold front moving through right now is a little bit unusual. It really is. But I mean, you always get something unusual with the weather every year, right? But it's really just been a typical kind of fall. What's not been typical is just a dry weather. You would think as we're going into an El Nino, we'd have more rain for the southeast. It has not been the case, and its reason is because these cold fronts have been so dry. No real rain associated with them once they get into the southeast. And once again, this is the case again. And, maybe as we get into the overnight hours, we can have an area of disorganized showers that might get going in southern areas of Louisiana, stretch through southern Mississippi, through the heart of Alabama. And you could wake up to some shower activity around the Atlanta area, Greenville, Spartanburg, up to Charlotte, maybe up to Greensboro, all the way up to Richmond. A little kind of small area of showers. And if you were to keep this going into tomorrow, for anybody that's got any things planned for, the evening of the 31st, you certainly might be dealing with a little bit of shower activity, maybe some light to moderate rain in upstate South Carolina, the Piedmont, North Carolina, Southeast Virginia. We got to watch this. We'll talk about this more as we get into tomorrow morning's video, but this will be something interesting to watch. If you got any plans, it'll certainly might rain on your parade, if you will, out there. But let's talk about the Northeast. Dealing with snow right now in Maine. This will continue throughout the morning hours, and you can keep your eyes if you live down here in the rainy part, up here in the snowy part. But this thing really trended colder. Snow falling a little bit further south now as we get later in the morning hours into central Maine. But the rest of the Northeast, rain from Virginia. This is about lunchtime. Rain from Virginia, most of PA. New York State might start to dry out in western New York, and then it's just a cold rain for most of Vermont, New Hampshire, and southern New England. This continues. We get to all the way to about dinner time. This last little bit of snow is pulling out of Maine, still snowing at a light to moderate pace, and you're still dealing with some rain from Washington D.C., from Baltimore up to northern areas of Delmarva, New Jersey, Long Island, New York City, all the way up to Boston, still dealing with some rain. And looks like mainly rain for the southern and down east areas of Maine, but still snowing up here. And then this pulls out, and then what comes in behind it overnight is we could start to get some lake effect energy coming off Erie and Ontario. And I think the further you get away from the lake, the less moisture you have, but the more colder air you have. So I think that if you're maybe 30 miles, you guys know how this works a little bit more than I do, but if you're a little bit off the lake, I think this could be falling as snow. I think we're dealing with some lake effect snows waking up for our Tuesday morning. And certainly to our west, you're dealing with it. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But waking up to some snow showers, snow flurries are possible. Finger Lakes region, southern tier, central New York, northwest areas of PA. I mean, maybe even around Cleveland. It's going to be a weird Halloween. It really is. Weather-wise, could snow. Yeah, we'll talk more about that here in a second. But as far as precipitation, just a steady rain. It's not going to add up super fast, but I mean, between now and the next 24 hours, Vermont, New Hampshire, definitely going to get a solid ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch. New York State, anywhere from a 1/4 inch to a ½ inch, maybe a little bit more. Southern New England, about the same thing. But as far as up here, this will fall in the form of snow. And this is the National Weather Service for the rest of this storm. That's just getting going. There might be a couple inches of snow already on the ground up here in certain areas, but another 2 to as much as 5 inches of snow is possible up here for that northern country, northern terrain, territory, whatever you want to call it, northern sections of the state of Maine. And then you could get a little bit of accumulating snow in far northern New Hampshire and Vermont. It's very possible. Talk about the south central U.S., you might be dealing with a little bit of freezing kind of mist or drizzle down here in southwest Texas. Let me know if you're a viewer from this area and you might be dealing with a little bit of glaze. I'll be interested to know. But the rain does clear out of Texas. You're dealing with some rain this morning, but you'll be dealing with some more rain throughout the afternoon, evening in southeast Texas, eastern Texas. But I think for the most part, not near as a washout as you've seen the last several days, but you're still going to be dealing with some rain as we're waking up tomorrow morning for the coastal sections of Texas, all the way down to Brownsville to Corpus Christi, Texas. Still dealing with some showers. We're going throughout the afternoon, evening, overnight hours, all the way into tomorrow morning. Still dealing with some lingering rain showers, but I don't think this is going to add up to a whole lot. This will be some chilly rain too. chilly rain all the way down to the coastline of Texas. This is where it gets interesting up here. The north central U.S., upper Midwest, Great Lakes region. We talked about this section, this area in great detail in last night's video. And, you're already dealing with these lake effect snows right now. Let's look at the radar out of Marquette. And, the upper section of the UP right here is dealing with some snow. This is moving in off Lake Superior, the southern shores. Good old Christmas. What a beautiful name of a town. I would love to live in a town called Christmas. You guys let me know how the town of Christmas is up here in the UP. Tell me if it's everything that I'm dreaming it to be. But you got Marquette. You're going to get some snow showers that move in. And the Kinawa Peninsula. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I really think things will crank up for you folks a little bit later today, where you guys are under a winter storm warning. And I think you're going to have some intense banding over this section of the UP. But everybody else, a few inches of snow is possible. And this is what's going on right now. Let's take a look at what's going to happen later on today. We continue to move. There's two things going on. There's two or three things going on. You got energy moving out of Canada into the north central U.S. You got the Great Lakes machine kicking up. You got Lake Superior popping off this snow. Lake Michigan is starting to pop off some lake effect snow. And so there's a lot of energy flying around up here. But these bands in the UP, if you live in these far northern counties of the UP right up against Lake Superior, man, these bandings are going to be pretty intense. Like I said, some thunder snow is very, very possible. I think likely. But you get into this afternoon, I think the snow will start to pile up somewhat in the eastern UP. And then, I'm going to get a little bit closer for you folks here in a second. But you see this energy pulling out of Minnesota later this evening. I think overnight tonight, you're going to start to see some snow in Wisconsin. Look at this light at times moderate snow flying through. You got the lake effect snow starting to come off like Michigan now. And then, we're getting into tomorrow afternoon at this point, guys. But in fact, let's just go on and get a little bit closer. So obviously, look at these intense blues you see up here. This indicates some very heavy kind of squally, typical lake effect snows. We get into this afternoon and we're going to have some snow showers flying around just the state of Michigan, just in general. But we're starting to get into this evening and we're starting to see snow showers, and these snow showers will mean business. We could have some squally weather up here in northern Minnesota. And then we're just getting some steady kind of spits of lake effect snow popping off the eastern side of Lake Michigan to all the communities that's up against the eastern shores of Lake Michigan. This probably won't really start to add up much for Grand Rapids, but if you live right up against it, like the Holland area, Ludington, I think Ludington is how you pronounce it, Traverse City. Is it Traverse City or Traverse City? You guys let me know. I know you will. But you keep this going, and it'll start to, it's not going to add up much just because it isn't a consistent flow, but whoever can see these bands that sit over these same areas for a while, you guys know the deal. You could pick up a quick couple inches of snow. But it's really, for the Kinawa Peninsula, it really starts to add up overnight as you have this intense band that really sets up over this region. Was it Houghton? You guys will have the snow that'll start to pile up. And, you're going to be having the lake effect snow continue to go off Lake Michigan and Lake Superior. And it's going to be an interesting flow that's going to be kind of more so, I think, west to east. I think that's why you're not having a lot of lake effect snow further south into these southern counties of the UP. But it's really as we're getting into tomorrow morning, guys. And I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but man, I think we're going to get a band of snow pretty broad. It's going to sweep through all of Wisconsin. It could become even more broad down to southern Wisconsin. And heck, guys, I think by the time we're getting into tomorrow morning, into about midday, I think we could, I showed you this last night. It hasn't went anywhere. In fact, it's the same exact way. It shows a pretty intense band of snow moving through Janesville, moving through Madison. It's still snowing back in La Crosse. Milwaukee down to Chicago. And if this is as intense as the H-Shortball model is showing, I think that it could at least put a coating of snow on the ground. And this swings this all the way down to Indianapolis. Even shows some snow showers all the way down to northern Kentucky. I just think it's going to be a weird Halloween, weird last day of October up here. It really is, guys. And, we got to see. And then, we're getting pretty far ahead of ourselves, but we're getting into tomorrow night. And I mean, you got snow showing up all the way down to Ohio. We'll talk about this more in detail in tomorrow morning's video. But, you know, snowfall between, you know, now and just the next 24 hours. I mean, could get an inch of snow overnight in Minneapolis. You could. Just some scattered 1 to 2 inch snowfall amounts in Minnesota overnight, and you know, eastern areas of North Dakota could certainly see some snow. And then you move into the upper Midwest region, and this is just between now and the next 24 hours. And there it is. You know, the snow's starting to add up a little bit, inch or two of snow in northwest Wisconsin, western Wisconsin. And then look at the snow really piling up in these areas right here in the UP of Michigan, and then in the eastern areas of UP of Michigan. I think Marquette's good for maybe 2 inches or so of snow, but there is going to be just kind of a shadow where you guys won't get a whole lot in the kind of the southern UP, if you will, whatever they call this extension, this kind of area right here, if they even call it, if you guys call it anything. But really, it's what's interesting is what happens after that. Okay, this goes out all the way through the afternoon, November 1st. And I mean, they're saying maybe a half an inch of snow is possible in Chicago. I mean, look in Wisconsin, just a stripe of anywhere from 1 to as much as 2.5 inches of snow through Wisconsin for tomorrow. Really, it's getting into tonight, into tomorrow, and then a few inches of snow is possible right up against Lake Michigan from these lake effect snows. But look at the snow starting to show up also. And we'll talk about, you know, Lake Erie and Ohio a little bit more in tomorrow morning's video. But this is really interesting. It really is. But, you know, the lake effect snows are certainly kicking up if you live in the counties bordering the southern shores of Lake Superior. So the western U.S., quiet. Man, it was so active. It was starting to get so active a week ago from today. But man, it's been pretty quiet. It was a pretty quiet weekend. It was a cold weekend, but it was a pretty quiet weekend. Quiet day today, and we're getting into this evening, into the overnight hours. I mean, you might not get nothing in the form of any precipitation out here. It's just quiet. I think a ridge is going to move in. You're going to go back to above average temperatures. And I think the eastern U.S. is a little bit more of a question on what happens. But this is another impressive portion of this video, guys. These are around high temperatures today. I want to note that, you know, there's going to be certain areas in like Tennessee, the deep south. I mean, even areas up into Virginia. Virginia will be a big example of this. For example, Virginia, you guys are starting off into the 60s. Temperatures will drop into the 40s into the afternoon. Okay? And then, you know, I think by the time we get into about mid-afternoon, the warmest part of the day, I think this cold front's going to be right on the spine of the Appalachian Mountains. I think the temperature gradient in Alabama is going to be incredible. I think southern Alabama will be in the 80s. I think northern Alabama by this afternoon, like around the Florence, Huntsville area, could be in the 40s to 50s. So, you know, one last really warm day for the Carolinas, Georgia. Really enjoyed if you're a warm weather fan. And I mean, the color contrast on this is pretty wild, right? I mean, all the country is just chilly. I mean, downright cold for late October standards. 80s. Record high temperatures all the way up potentially into the Delmarva region. So, boy, enjoy it. Western U.S., you're starting to warm up nothing too crazy, but you are starting to warm up a good bit for the western U.S., extreme western U.S., but it's still downright chilly for everybody else in the Rockies. Another chilly day in Denver. Another chilly day just across every state in the western U.S. You're starting to unthaw a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry, you're starting to thaw out. I was bad about saying that last year too. But you're starting to thaw out, not unthaw. Thaw out for certain areas of the western U.S. But it's still chilly. It's definitely still chilly out there. But, you know, weather-wise, not much going on. Let's give you an update on the tropics. This is really not a storyline anymore. The chances have significantly dropped off since 24 hours ago. So I think we're good here. Could bring some high surf for the southeast. But this is another story. Okay, we got a 40% chance for this to develop into a tropical depression within the next 7 days. I expect this to maybe increase a little bit. But we need to watch our neighbors here in the Caribbean, especially Central America. It doesn't look like much right now, just an area of showers and storms here in the Eastern Caribbean. Not really much to show for right now. But it's what happens with this as we move later into the work week, and we'll start off for Wednesday evening, get into Thursday. It starts to develop into pretty much a bona fide tropical storm by Friday morning. This could be vents deep down here into the Caribbean. It develops what would be vents into a hurricane sometime this weekend and makes landfall into somewhere in the Central America. We'll start actually naming countries when we have a little bit better idea where this is going to make landfall. But I certainly think that this is something that Central America needs to watch. And even areas in Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, even the southern tip of Florida. Nothing to be concerned about this far north. But I think you need to watch to see if this tries to pull north before making landfall in Central America. But it does, unfortunately, have this making landfall as a hurricane. But I say, unfortunately, it's not a forecast. And the reason, I kind of back up a little bit with the word unfortunately is because you look at the European guys and it's just a big blob of moisture and it just makes landfall. It's kind of like a tropical wave, tropical depression this weekend to Central America. But the GFS has an all-out hurricane. So, guys, that's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. Like I said, I won't have a video this evening. Probably going to carve some pumpkins with my little girls. And just take the night off. But that's all I got. God bless all y'all. Have a great evening. Asking for prayers for my little girl. It's her cough to clear up. I can hear her coughing like crazy on the other side of the wall. But thank y'all for everything. Thank y'all for, a good month of October. Thank you for the people who continue to tune in regardless of it being slow or not. You guys are truly the core of this channel, and it's nothing against people who only tune in when things get active. But the people who tune in regardless, you were the core of the channel just because, if everybody just decided to tune in when the weather was active for their specific region, I would probably only have a few hundred views every single video. But just thank y'all for everything. Appreciate the support. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.